Welcome to round 3 of the ICC 25-26. We're playing with the black pieces against this little fella. My name disappeared, I don't know why. Well, it's just right into it. We're sitting with 1.5 out of 2, which is a decent score. Losing, of course, 6 elo points, but I mean, that's life. My opponent opens with c4, the English show, but against the English, I don't really have one weapon, so I just went knight f6. My opponent goes knight c3, normal stuff. I go g6. I'm kind of used to fianchetto setups. I play like the Benoni, and there are lots of Benonis with the fianchetto. So played some Grunfelds, and if all of that fails, I always have d kings in there. The game is today. It's midnight and 30. I should be feeling tired. I'm not. I don't know why I'm not feeling tired. My head was like hurting until like the game, and the game stopped hurting. I don't know why. I'm like going crazy, I guess. He goes g3, just normal English stuff. I thought it was a little bit annoying because it seems like it's a Catalan. I don't remember the way of playing is the Catalan, which is an anti-Catalan setup with d5 c6, because the bishop just never has anything, because the pawns are like squares. I go d5, my opponent does not take, plays bishop g2, which I think is a reasonable move. Maybe the best option is just trade the pieces and then put the bishop on g2. No, not really, play knight f3 because then they can take the bishop. Cut bishop g2. Here the engine gives d4 good advantage because we're just taking up a lot of space. c5 is also an option. I just went with normal c6. Yeah, after d4, knight a4. I mean, I just wanted c6. I just wanted c6. I didn't. He goes for double fianchetto setup. Is this good or is this not good? I mean, I'll leave it to you guys to decide. In this position, when I have the d pawn and the c pawn can be captured, leaving this c pawn in the semi-open b file, it's not really that great. Maybe if he had taken and then played d3 would have been better. Just go bishop g7. There are many options. e5, just developing and all. d4 still strong. Just go bishop g7. And after e3, which I think is a reasonable move. Of course, you could play the d3 kind of Englishes. You could also play e3, getting the knight here. You can get the knight here. There are many Englishes. I don't know them all. I know the Botvinnik triangle, which is with e4, c4, and d3. I don't really know how to play it, but I know what it is all about. Newcastle is giving us an inaccuracy. It's like the third best move. He only once knight a4. But after it takes, I think you lose. No, you don't lose a pawn because knight a4 is good because now you're double pressuring the knight. But after a move like let's say knight e4, bishop g2, bishop b2. I mean, okay, you take and you kind of get. Maybe the structure is weaker after lots of moves, but yeah, it's not really clear. e3, I went castles, of course. Knight g2, e2, decent move. Here, bishop f5 is marked as a mistake. Bishop f5 just seemed a normal move, just developing the bishop. Bishop f5 is marked as a mistake because of d4, and the game is pretty much equal because now White's position is just good. He has solidified a good center. Now if I take here, for example, it's not really that weak. But my opponent does not play d4, he instead goes for castles, which is now marked as a miss. And here I find a nice sequence of moves that create a lot of trouble, not just a lot of trouble in my opponent. Firstly, D takes C, BC, and now Bishop B3. It's a great move, and I'm quite proud of it. I'm not gonna lie. Let's just start with the basics. This pin is annoying, and the pawn is weak, so I'm targeting it. And the only real way to defend this pawn without dropping it, is to play Queen B3, which I was seeing, and I thought it was like a forced move. The engine also gives Bishop A3, but after taking it all, really see what they want me to do. It takes. It says Queen B1 is technically fine. Of course, the position is still very good. The position is just better for me. So he doesn't play Bishop A3, he plays the normal Queen B3, which I was seeing. Here I also find another nice move, which is Queen to B6. Now the engine wanted Knight BD7, but the thing about Knight BD7 is that, I mean, you get into this position. Yeah, Bishop takes on C4 is a mistake. The only move is Knight C5. And now you're doing very well after in this position, which I do not quite see. I'm not gonna pretend I do see what we have. Knight after E4, we have an advantage. But I just played the most regular Queen B6. Now, keep in mind, my opponent is probably, if I'm not wrong, like 100 elo points lower than me rating, just like yesterday. And yet again, I do not want a win now. Forgetting what happened in the last game because the tournament goes on. Queen B6, you could just say, I mean, but Queen takes, yeah, but here A takes, and this pawn is pretty much gone. And when I take this pawn, there will also be pressure into this pawn. And I just thought that he cannot take it because then it's just very simple. Now, after here, I saw some moves. Bishop B2 is a move that I saw, Bishop B2. Rook E1 is also a possibility. There's also still the Bishop A3. Now it makes a little bit more sense. One isn't protected. Taking is never an option. I also saw some knight jumps, for example knight e4, but I think knight e4 always fails to knight e5, to e5. Knight f5 though, in this position, no, knight f5, I saw this, you take, and then you just go here. No, it's not. No, what did I, you take, oh, no, you not gonna lie, I'm kind of tired. Knight f4 is always a mistake in this position because you just, without rook e1, because then you just take the goddamn rook and have an exchange. I will, soon go to sleep. Let's just check the messages. Okay. So he plays rook e1, and I go knight b7, which it says it's a mistake. Now, it recommends queen to a6, and I kind of get it. You're putting pressure on the pawn, and now I think the pawn is gone for good. And you don't trade the queen, so yeah. But just knight b7, I mean, you're just developing, you're threatening knight c5, hankering the bishop. Now, because the rook went here, let's say that now he can get knight f4, and now I get knight c5, very comfortable. If takes, I'm more than happy in this position, probably because the knight is as strong as the bishop here. Maybe even better. Maybe not, but it's good. We'll play knight bd7, and here my opponent plays bishop e2. Now, it still gives bishop a3 as a very good move, and it pretty much equalizes in this position. Because yeah, now you knight c5 fails to takes. And yeah, there you drop the pawn, and it's not looking very good. My opponent plays bishop e2. And here I actually do not play the best move according to the computer. The best move would have been knight c5 because the queen can still outtake. And after just sliding back, protecting the bishop because the bishop is being targeted. Here, for example, you can just take the free pawn. e5 is also good. And the position is just nice. I did find that I take the queen. It's a very risky thing. I spent some time here. Because after AB, yeah, you either try to go after the pawns or you just do. Here I also find a nice move. The engine doesn't really give it as something special, but I was very happy with the move here, a5. Now what a5 does is, I mean, when I play knight c5, the pawn cannot go forward, because I will take. But I'm just fixing the structure, and I thought it was a very nice move. The engine still loves bishop a3 here. My opponent plays e4, and yeah, here e4 is a clear mistake. First of all, it hangs a pawn after knight takes, bishop takes and bishop takes, because the knight cannot take, given that the bishop drops here. So, it loses the pawn. Now, in game, I spent some time here, and I didn't even see that this dropped the pawn. I just thought it was a very weird decision, because now I can get my knight to c5, which is marked as a miss, because that move is just better in general. And now, the way of protecting the pawns is to go knight here. Now, of course, if knight there, I would have continued, of course, bishop c2. And I think around here, and I think here, there's just not much. I mean, there is no real way of actually saving the pawn. But of course, taking that the center pawn would have been slightly superior. Now my opponent here completely, like, I think panics or whatever, because he doesn't defend the b3 pawn. He plays f3, which is marked as a blunder because first of all, knight takes on b3. I don't really get f3. I thought that in this position, my opponent saw that I have like 1, 2, 3 pieces pointing at the e4 pawn and just decided, okay, let's protect it. Of course, now it just completely drops the... And another nice thing about knight c6 is now I'm at the same time attacking e4 and e3. If he plays f3, I just pick up a pawn. Here he tries rook e2, which I was considering more rook a3 because I think it's the most... I don't know if you guys saw this, I wet myself with tea. Because it's just the more, force inclined. Just like in the other game where there was a rook a3, I guess, but my opponent played rook a7. Yeah. There's rook e2. Here I take. Well, after thinking, I mean, we could take this, we could take this. If I took here, it's probably still very good to me. But after bishop a3, I'm just getting into unnecessary things. For example, this, here. I think it's all winning. But, I mean, there was no need in doing that, given that I can just take the pawn with the bishop. And here I win actually another pawn. And after bishop a2, it's just a very good move. I just went rook e8, just rook f8, just normal standard defending the pawn. Opponent attacks my knight, and here I was thinking on playing a4. It was like my first instinct to play a4, but then I saw a nice move, b5, the top line of the computer, which I do play. You're trying to fork. That's pretty much the idea. And I think that's pretty much the idea. Yeah. Number one plays d3, which is the best move here. Just calmly, bishop e6. You just keep in mind, taking is still winning because of the pawns, I guess. But yeah, bishop e6. I mean, of course, yeah, you're technically blocking the pawns with your bishop, but I mean, it doesn't really matter. And my opponent here just goes rook c2. Here it's just a hard position to play because I just go b4, and my opponent resigns the game. My opponent went to play another game after this one, and yeah, let's just say he didn't really have a good day. He's a good player, and yeah, he just didn't really have a good day. My game wasn't really that awful. I mean, yeah, it was kind of sad how he just completely melted with e4. But in my view, it was just a solid game by me. There's also not really much I could have went wrong. I was a little bit afraid of the English, I'm gonna admit it. We're probably still gonna face it a little more in the tournament. We will see. I have no clue. I'm not gonna pretend I know what I'm gonna face. I do not. And let's just for you guys to see. I can cover my face. I do not care. Just a review of the game. The game was just solid, 82.9 against 68.6. And yeah, we had we didn't really have much. Had one great move with bishop d3, some best, some okays, some inaccuracies and errors as well, which is not that good. But the opening, I'm not gonna lie, it wasn't good. Middle game also, the opening it actually gives an 81.8, which is weird, because it's an error mark. I think it's because he made mistakes in the opening, I guess. Minus 88.9. Maybe it just knows that it's a classical game and just gives almost nothing. But yeah, let's take a closer. The engine doesn't even say anything. And yeah, we move on. We managed to grab one more win. We're now 2.5 out of 3, ending the first week of games in the ICC. There will be a second week, 3 more rounds. Third week, another 3 rounds. We're just gonna see how it goes. We're feeling confident. We've played well. We have played less well. We have got some good results. It hasn't been that great. I can even check how much elo I'm gaining. So last episode I said because of that draw, I was losing 6 elo points. We can actually see here. How much elo do I have? What's this? I think it's this my opponent has. It was a win. K40. I won 14 elo points from this win, which is not a lot, but it's still 14 elo points. So I'm winning 8 elo points from the tournament. Of course, there's still 6 rounds left to go, and we're still gonna have some tough games ahead of us. Some maybe not bad games, maybe easy games, maybe hard games. We're just gonna have fun, I guess. This one was, I'm gonna say, a fun game. I mean, it wasn't really much, but yeah, I feel a little bit confident. I am gonna try to rest a little bit this week and not do much because I'm like tired. I mean, it was 2 stressing days. I tried to make the calendar for the games to be like apart from each other. I ultimately failed. But yeah. Next week we have, I think, the biggest game of them all because it's the only against a rated opponent. Is in the Thursday. Yeah, Thursday. And yeah, we're gonna see how it goes. And I think that's all I have to show you. Goodbye.